I think something very big is coming up with UFC, a fight. Very big.
Versus boxers? De La Hoya?
No. I'm talking purely UFC. I think Dana's up to something, and he's about to launch a very big fight.
He can't let the boxers just take everything from him because, well, he runs the whole, if it wasn't for him, I mean, my God, boxing would be dead. There'd be no UFC. But I think he could flip over to boxing.
If it weren't for who?
Dana White. Dana White. And if it
weren't for him, boxing would be dead?
No, if it wasn't for Dana White, we'd have no combat sports at all.
Dana White's helped out boxing and UFC.
How's he helped out boxing?
Are you kidding me? What happened with the counter fight against Mayweather? What happens to a lot of these boxing fights?
Did he arrange that? That was his deal?
He didn't arrange that. But if he didn't create a platform where he promotes the way he did to give birth to Conor McGregor, who goes from being on welfare to not being worth a few $100 million to being one of the biggest box office fights, hey, that credit goes to the promoter. A big part of the credit goes to the promoter, and that's Dana White.
Clearly, he's dominated with the UFC. I just didn't understand the how it carries over to boxing. You're saying a rising tide lifts all ships, and if UFC's lifting, so is boxing?
If you ask me, I think he's helped because it's a rising, the whole rising
tide lift all ships.
But I tell you, they're dominating right now.
Yeah.
There's I have not ordered a fight in a long time. A fight like meaning boxing. If I do, it had to be a big one. I don't order the boxing fights. Yeah. UFCs, it's like a regular thing.
I think it's this, as ridiculous as it sounds, I think it's the Paul brothers that are actually making boxing relevant again.
The sport of boxing,
since Floyd retired.
Yeah. What does that tell you, though? What does that tell you?
That there needs to be some action on the boxing ring. There needs to be a Don King coming in the mix like a Dana White to make boxing exciting again. Dana White is the face of UFC, yeah? Who's the face of boxing these days?
Good luck finding a Dana White. Oscar De La Hoya tried to do it. Oscar's not Dana White. To be a promoter, it's not everybody's job. I once interviewed Wayne DeMillia, one of the greatest bodybuilding promoters of all time. This guy would show up on a camel. He would bring a bodybuilder on a camel in a show just because he wanted. So he was a massive promoter. Every industry, every sport that ever did great, you will find a great promoter behind closed doors.
WWE.
Every single McMahon, every single game had a great promoter. Dana happens to be one of the best, if not the best of all time.
So why can't they figure it out in boxing?
Why?
Corruption.
Is it?
It's been just a corrupt sport, and I
too
think
political.
They don't know how to promote it. Here's the other thing. I mean, Dana White is so powerful, so influential right now. He's the main reason I think that Endeavor, William Morris, was able to get their IPO. Because they brought in the private investors to totally bring the UFC into the fold, and that allowed them to go public after failing in 2019. And it's the most valuable commodity with Endeavor and William Morris. The stock started at 24. It's moving its way up. That thing's only getting bigger. But you know what? Jake Paul has started a dialogue that the UFC fighters are underpaid. And it's going to be a huge thorn in Dana White's side. Follow this. He went off on it the other night. He's like the champion for UFC fighters, saying you're the ones putting your life on the line, risking your health and your injuries, and you're not getting paid. You know that's pissing off Dana White big time.
That's nothing new, though. That's been said for a long time. That's been said about Dana for 15 years.
But he's got a big bullhorn, and people are actually hearing it because Jake Paul's got a following.
Yeah, by the way, I agree with you. I think there's things going on over there where he's not paying the guys as much as they ought to. To him, his opinion is more from the place of, at least these guys were making nothing, now they're making this. Right. They were coming off the streets, and they're not professional boxers, they're street fighters, now they're making this. But I do think that can hurt him long term. I just think it's a story that he's been able to deflect for a very long time.
Yes. Well, it's like you're believing the power of competition of UFC. Who's UFC's competitor?
Bellator.
Is it Bellator?
It's not even close.
Okay, I've never even heard of them. That's my point.
I've never ordered Bellator.
So if a Conor McGregor or Khabib or you pick a name, Cormier, whoever, is like, I'm done with this shit. You're not paying me enough.
Go ahead.
I'm going to Bellator. All right, good luck at Bellator, buddy. I've never even heard of it.
See what kind of a show they put on.
That's the problem with competition is that, they might be paying their fighters less than market value, but the market creates the value if there's no place to go.
I'm with Dana White. It's the sport that is the number one.
Yeah.
It's the spectacle. It's the show. Jake Paul said one of the ring girls was actually paid more than one of the fighters on the last card.
See, that's the kind of the thing with
she must have been hot though.
The thing with Jake Paul, Paul is he's a professional troll.
Mm-hmm. Professional.
He's a professional troll. He's even a better troll than his brother is. Logan's not a troll. Jake is a troll.
True.
Yeah.
Jake, I would say Jake's hero is probably Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Maybe Trump.
If I were to tell you who Jake models his game after, it has to be Tekashi 6ix9ine. Not even Trump. It has to be Tekashi.
He FaceTimed with Trump.
No,
the other day.
he did. I know. But what I'm trying to tell you with Tekashi
Giving him
6ix9ine,
tips.
Trump was a billionaire trolling people. He was at the top trolling people. Tekashi came from nowhere to being. Everybody says, "I can't believe this guy's alive. This guy's alive." How is Tekashi still alive? Going out there saying what he's saying, right? The other day, he posted something on Instagram saying, "Here's a GoFundMe account for this guy. Go help him buy little, lemon because he needs a car."
Troll.
He's a professional,
and he
troll.
literally looks like a troll.
And Jake is duplicating what.
Does that have? What are the long-term consequences of being a freaking troll? Like short-term, yeah, people, you're in the news.
You get rich.
You're in the
There's
news.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Long-term, you're going to be the most.
Go back. Who are the biggest trolls, and how did it turn out for them? How did it turn out for them?
Well, if it's Tekashi 6ix9ine, you do a little time in jail.
No. What I'm saying is go back.
Okay.
Go back to the 70s, 80s.
Trolls.
So, for example, Morton Downey Jr. was one of the biggest trolls. Okay,
I
Morton
don't
Downey
remember
Jr.
him.
Oh,
I do.
Pull
Smoked on the air.
up his. In the 80s and early 90s. I don't know what the exact year was. Morton Downey Jr. for 18 months took over Jerry, took over Montel Williams, took over Oprah Winfrey, took over everybody. He was it. He would smoke cigarettes, get in people's faces, curse them out on national television, and he brought Ron Paul. He brought everybody on. Morton Downey Jr. Kai, can you pull that up?
Something that comes to mind is Charlie Sheen when his Tiger Blood days of the early 2000s when he's.
I think that's drugs, though. That's.
Well, okay, but he was trolling people whether you're on drugs or not.
I don't know.
This guy?
That's Morton Downey Jr.
Is your point here ultimately it doesn't last long?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out with you. By the way, you know what happened to them? The challenge with trolls is the following. Here's the challenge with trolls.
Yeah.
Eventually, if you have nothing of substance to show for it, the audience goes for the next troll. Trolls are seasonal. People leave you in a heartbeat if you have nothing new to troll. So, for example, if there's nothing new for Jake Paul to troll, what's going to happen? Now, if he can last it for 5-10 years and produce a few 100 million followers, he is a very relevant person at 35. Now he's got a family. He's got maybe living a different life. He may have a different opinion.
The whole story with these trolls is if you win or not. Meaning, if Tekashi 6ix9ine comes out and has a banger album and he's the #1 on the charts and actually makes good music, all right, it's hard to argue against that. If Jake Paul actually goes 4-0, 5-0, 10-0, but once his ass gets knocked out, he's irrelevant again.
Was Tupac a troll?
True.
Sure
I wouldn't say he was a
With his
troll.
diss tapes,
I
hell
think
yeah.
he was. I think he ruffled some feathers and he was just a straight gangster.
Okay, so let's define what a troll is. What is a troll?
I don't know what's
An instigator. Again,
What is a troll?
I think there's two types of trolls. I think there's the troll that actually is kind of has some beef and that they're putting out there and they
That's
and
Tupac.
like Tupac.
Okay.
And then there's a
Bone
troll
Thugs
for
and Harmony.
Oh, I mean, the best.
We're
But
not against rap. We're
Well,
not
we
against
are against rappers.
But he called out that
pushing against the. I guess my point is you're pushing against the system. You have a point to make. You actually do have some substance, some value, versus just
Ice
being
Cube.
a shit talker,
Ice-T.
annoying troll, just for the point of being annoying. That's what I think Jake Paul is.
you think Jake Paul is annoying, is what you're saying.
I think the stats show he's probably the most hated man in America
Well, then
right now.
he's
We can ask our audience
but
what
then
they
what
think.
you're saying is Jake Paul is an annoying troll. That's what you're
Yes,
saying. But he's
yes.
still a troll.
And once he gets his ass knocked out and loses,
Let me ask you a
he'll
question.
fall off
You
the pedestal.
tell me a troll in the history of trolls that didn't annoy somebody. That wasn't annoying to somebody. So Jake
That's
Paul
part of their DNA.
But Jake Paul happens to be your annoying troll.
Not mine.
He obviously tell the
He's
truth.
America's
By
troll.
his office, in his desk. Can I tell him the truth about Adam's computer?
Here it is.
When Adam
Next
goes,
to the notebook?
When it goes, what do you call it? When the computer screen starts
Screensaver?
Screensaver. It's Jake Paul's picture he's got on. I don't understand why you do that to yourself.
Yeah, I know.
He wants to fight him. Jake Paul has monetized his trolling. That's what he's been able to do in a big time
I'll give
way.
him respect on that.
And you see, I disagree. I don't think he has to win his fights because he's smart enough to always pick a fight with the baddest dude on the block. So he's not trolling wimps.
Who's the baddest dude on the block?
Floyd Mayweather? Conor McGregor?
But he hasn't fought these people.
Yeah, but he's trolling them. He's instigating it. He's doing it right now. He's getting the attention. Plus, I will say this. The dude is influential. I'm not a huge fan, but I know the influence he has because I drove to his house probably 8 times because Dash was a fan of him 4 or 5 years ago when he was cranking out videos. And we had to go to
Dash
West
needs
Hollywood,
better role models,
and we ran
bro.
into him a few times.
Dash needs better role models,
I
Tom.
love figured it out. No,
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, Click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.